Good evening, everyone, or good morning, whatever time zone you're in. So today is our introduction to Apache Spark on IBM Cloud session. And here is the agenda. I'm going to have some key reminders on what not to do, how to use Spark environment, how to ask questions effectively. Most of you already doing it. We're going to talk about the Spark environment, some elements of Python notebook, and high-level steps on what you need to do and what can you do to troubleshoot. Okay, so now that thing here. So most of you have been doing a great job. You need to asking questions effectively is part of your career, right? So to get my help faster, you need to say, okay, here is what I'm expecting to get, and this is what I'm getting, right? You need to provide a screenshot of an error message. If you're saying something like, oh, I cannot log in, what exactly are you trying to log in? Where are you trying to log in? What are the steps? What are the error messages? There could be 1,000 things going on, right? And whatever solved the issue for your classmate might not be the solution for you. So just keep that in mind, right? Remember that when you submit the ticket, you have to select UMGC Virtual Lab Support. Otherwise, your ticket is going to go who knows where. There are thousands of tickets per day. It's advising everything else. You can't even know what is there. So please make sure, select correct option and do not call the help desk because they're not going to direct the ticket to the right place for a few days. Trust me. Okay? Submit the ticket with the form in the classroom. Now, what not to do? Please do not deactivate. You created the IBM Cloud account and do not deactivate it. And I need to add one more thing here that is not in here and it just came up. Do not install Spark. You do not need to install Spark for this assignment, okay? Do not install. I don't know which chapter it was read about, but do not install Spark. You use all software on IBM Cloud for this course. This work is done in the cloud. Please, okay? Follow the instructions in the assignment folders. There is a video that you need to watch first. Please do that, right? Do not enter credit card information. Do not delete the object storage. It's important because if it's deleted, it's very hard to fix it. Do not open IBM's tickets unless I told you, right? Please do not put the graded code in the discussion. This also is especially going to be the case for big assignment 2, right? Where the second part of the assignment is where you will write the code. So please do not put your solution in a discussion because it's graded work, right? And also do not get tempted by a solution posted by your classmate because who knows, maybe their solution is incorrect, right? So you work on your own solution, but by all means, please ask for help with ungraded exercises. That one, yes, but if anything that's graded, please do not post the solution in the classroom, all right? Do not forget to stop kernel when you exit the notebook, and I'll show you. Right? And you want to make sure that your environment is not running when you stop, when you don't work. And please save yourself. Do not share the work with future Data 650 students. Well, you may or may not be punished, but the thing is you're punishing them because Turnitin is going to catch the match and they're going to get 0. So please, please, please do not do that. I know that I don't need to say that, but you know, okay? Now, remember this environmental usage, what it is. When you're running Spark 3.3 or 3.4, Python 3.10 in this case, what it does is it consumes 1.5 capacity unit hours per hour. So when the environment is running, right, it takes up resources and it consumes 1.5 units per hour. You have 10 capacity hours per month, per calendar month. So I would urge you to start working on the assignment tonight. Why tonight? Because right now, if you forget to step the environment, it's a cheap mistake because the month is almost over, right? Tomorrow the month ends. So I would recommend, because, well, you will see what's going on with your capacity hours, right? The hours are reset. They're going to be reset again late tomorrow because it goes by another time zone. But you have 10 hours. It's a privilege. It's not limited. It's a privilege to have 10 hours. So whenever you open the notebook in edit mode, you're consuming those capacity hours. Closing the browser tab does not stop the environment. So you have to physically go in and stop the runtime, right? So when it's consuming, even if you're not running, not physically clicking on the cells to run the code, whenever you open notebook in edit mode, it starts using up the hours. But trust me, out of those 10 hours, if you're doing this assignment correctly, you should not use more than 1 hour, or never more than 2 hours, never for this assignment, okay? Most of the hours should be consumed by the part 2 of assignment 2. You might be asking you might be thinking, what's assignment 2? Where do I see it? Well, in order to see assignment 2, you need to submit this assignment. This is a pre-assignment for assignment 2, if you will. You can think of it this way. So once you submit this assignment, you're going to see assignment 2, right? Because first of all, you need to know how to use the environment. Because if you don't know how to use the environment and start working on assignment 2 right away, you're going to burn those 10 hours in no time. But you're going to be doing a good job. You're not going to, because you're going to follow instructions, right? All right, so this is a vocabulary. You must know what IBM Cloud is, right? You must know what's Cloud Pak for Data. In some readings, they refer to it as Watson Studio. So basically, IBM Cloud Pak for Data, it's a sub-platform, or it's a service on the IBM Cloud itself, right? You need to understand what the project is, right? So what you do is, when you work on something, you create a project, and the project has assets such as data and notebooks, right? And in some cases, you could have data modules, etc. Cloud object storage, what is this? It's an area where your assets in the project are stored. So project object storage consists of buckets, right? And the resources for the project are stored in a bucket. So this is very important, because, see, when you need help, I'm going to tell you, did you stop the kernel before exiting? And if you don't know what the kernel is, we're going to be speaking foreign language to each other, right? So important, you must be familiar with this vocabulary, all right? So what are the high-level steps of what you need to do? Most of you, hopefully all of you, have IBM Cloud account right now, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to log into Cloud Pak for Data, which is an integrated software platform, right? You're going to select your region, and it follows the steps in the instructions, basically, and you're going to create your first project. You create your first project. After that, what you'll do, you're going to change the storage. There is something called storage delegation setting that needs to be done only once. In other words, you authorized your notebooks and the data to be stored in the object storage. I'll show you. You're going to add data to the project. You're going to run the notebook. And after that, the notebook has graded exercises and ungraded exercises. For ungraded, you need to attempt it. It does not need to work, right? But it needs to be attempted to get graded. Graded, it must work, it better works. But it also helps to make sure that you understand what code you're actually running, because there are examples, right? For example, you could have an example that shows you statistics for one of the columns, and your exercise is to produce the same statistics but for another column, something like that, right? So I'm gonna go to the IBM Cloud Pak for Data right now. Remember, this is not an IBM Cloud URL. It's a different URL. Oops. Sometimes I'm struggling with this because when I am sharing, sometimes I cannot see That thing at the top shows and I cannot see, what do you call this? Okay, there we go. So now, this is a cloud pack, right? You enter data platform abi@cloud.com. But when you log in for the first time, you're gonna need to enter your region, etc. But fortunately or unfortunately, you will have to agree to getting their emails. Otherwise, you won't be able to create an account. In the past, the student had an issue with creating the data platform, with using data platform. It's because they had to select the option to you need to be able to enable the receiving notification. If you don't, click the checkbox when you sign up, it won't work, okay? So now, see this is a cloud pack for data. This is a sub platform and it has my name, right? My account. Remember, IBM Cloud is where you actually manage services. This is where you use services. So remember here, what I'll be telling this a lot. When you go to the administration and when you go to it's here, environmental runtime, take a look at this. I might have something running right now. Oops. Environmental runtime. Okay, here we go. So here, well, this is what I was talking about. For months, every month, I get 10 of these guys. As I keep running my notebook, see the first number here is the environmental hours that I have consumed, right? As I keep running my notebooks, this number is gonna be going up. That number, the second number, is gonna be going down, but the counter is gonna be going up. Remember that. Here, I see what I have currently running. At the moment, I'm not running anything, so this should stay as is. But why do it say 0.2? Because I had to do some testing. I tested to make sure that the notebook that you received, it works in 2 versions. All right? Now, well, the work needs to be, well, first of all, you have to go to, this needs to be done only once. You have to go to the object storage and you need to change the object storage delegation, right? I mentioned that. So I believe it's in the, they keep on changing this. They keep on changing the location. It's in the settings. Well, look, you have to go to configuration and setting. Look, the storage delegation. Very important. You have to make sure that this is turned on. Because what this does is that you are allowing to store the data in object storage. It's very important. Okay, make sure this is turned on. If you don't, then you won't be able to create your projects. So what is a project? Well, project is a set of, it's all your notebooks and all your data associated with specific task, right? So when I go here, I can see my recent projects here, right? But I'm gonna create a new project right now. So there are multiple ways to do it. I go to projects, see this? Well, I can click on view all projects and then there should be an option right here, new project, see? I can create a new project. Well, and then I'm gonna select this create empty project. At the moment, I'm not running the environment. I'm just creating a project. And let's call this spring, right? 2024 demo. Okay? Well, okay, so I just do that and see this. What is this? It picked up that I have an object storage. This is the area where the notebooks associated with the notebooks and the data that I'm gonna place in this project will be stored, right? So now I'm gonna do, this is description, this is optional. I'm gonna click on create. Let's see what happens. Well, right now I'm not running anything. Nothing's running. All I did was just created the object. I just created the project, empty project. See, nothing. Well, what this does here, it just shows you how many resources you consume with this project. Oh, wait a minute. Yelena said you can have 10 hours per month. What happens if I'm just gonna reach 10 hours here? May I just go in and create another project to get another 10 hours? No. The answer is no. It's 10 hours per month total, regardless on which projects you use them, okay? You get 10 hours, you get 10 capacity hours per month. It does not matter in which project you use them, right? So I just created a new project. Well, see, this is just an overview. This is assets. Asset shows you what I have in there. Do I have any notebooks in there? Do I have any data? At the moment, I have nothing, right? Manage. Well, see this, that's a project ID, right? This is a bucket. This is important number. Object storage bucket number. And you'll need to know this at some point in your notebook. Well, I'll show you where else you see it. But bucket is a location in the object storage where all assets associated with this project will be stored. See? So you can get it from here and their other location. I'll show you. But here also, this is one way to see what you have running right now in this project. This is the resource usage for this project only. So you cannot say I can create another project and get 10 more hours. No, you cannot do it. Now, let's do this. Let's upload data. So how do I do this? Well, let's say, well, I can open up the data panel here, and I can just drag and drop the file, or I can click on this, and I know that on the desktop, I saved a copy of the employee attrition, right? That's a file that's located in your assignment folder. You download it, and I'm gonna click open. What's gonna happen right now? I'm just uploading the file. It says uploaded. It's gonna show in here, right? So right now I have one asset, and it's appearing where? Under data. See data assets. That's it. I just uploaded the data, right? And if I go to overview, it's supposed to show, oh well, it just shows me the time when I created the project. Okay, so now let's go back. So right now is the important part where we're gonna be adding the notebook, right? Here you'll need to be very careful and you need to pay undivided attention. I'm gonna click on new asset, right? And you have to select code editor. And what is this? Jupyter Notebook Editor. Okay. Now, there are several ways to add a notebook. You can add, there is a sample site where you can choose the samples. There is a local file or for URL. You can just download from URL if you know one. But in this case, we're going to select the local file. Now what you need to do, you need to find the file where you saved it, right? I saved it on my desktop. So I'm going to go back to my desktop. And this is the employee attrition notebook that I saved. I'm going to select it. File name is going to be pre-populated for me by default. I can edit it. Very important here, you have to choose the correct runtime environment. Well, you have two options here. Well, first of all, you have to make sure that it's a Spark. At any time, Spark 3.3 is going to go. It's going to be deprecated at any time, okay? And you're going to see only Spark 3.4. So I'm going to select Spark 3.4. Well, I know in the assignment instruction, it says 3.3. They weren't updated because 3.3 is still valid. But, well, I'm going to select 3.4 tonight, but I verified that the code works in both without any changes. Okay, but please do yourself a favor. Do not select any of this at the top. Okay? Select Spark, please. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do this one, right? I selected it. Double check. Well, see this? It says, it's supposed to say it consumes 1.5 capacity unit per hour. So here, I recommend finding a time when you're less likely to be distracted, because when you're on the phone with a friend, at that time, the hours are running, right? Okay, so I selected this, right? And you remember my consumption was 0.2. I selected this environment, and I'm ready right now to create the notebook. I'm going to click on create, okay? Well, what's going to happen right now? What is it? The spinning wheel. It instantiating what? The runtime, right? See this little percentage? It's starting the runtime environment. And it's telling you here the consumption again, right? Starting. It's gonna start. What do I see right now? I'm gonna see the notebook. The notebook consists of cells, right? You may have seen it in your earlier courses or you may not have. Well, see this? This is a set of cells that you're gonna be executing, executable cells. And this one, it says it's Python 10 with Spark, right? Well, what you need to do is, well, because look, you'll be reading the data, right? But how do you read the data? You need the credentials, right? Because the data is stored where? In the object storage bucket. So first thing what you need to do is you're gonna scroll down to this section right here where it says to load data. Now, what you're gonna go in here, this is a code snippets, right? This is a recent change. So you go to code snippets and you're gonna go to read data. Select data from project, right? Now, this is, you're gonna click on the data set. This is the data that I just uploaded. You're gonna select that. Now you're gonna click on select, right? What else are you gonna do? Press the cursor here. Click here. Make sure that you see Spark Session data frame. If you don't see this option, you might not be using the correct environment. Spark Session data frame, and this one, you click on insert code to cell. Okay, am I done? No, I'm not done because, okay, few things here. Oh, you lucky, it shows DF1. Usually it does not. Okay, so, oh, but you need to, there are a few more things to make sure, because if you look at this, if you look at this is maybe another recent change, but well, let's take a look at this here. Let's look at the slides. I what I did here, I spelled out for you the changes that you need to make. Yes, that's correct. Right now you're lucky. For some unknown reason, it just named SDF underscore one. Usually it names it as DF underscore two or DF underscore three. So what you need to do is you need to rename it, because the rest of the code is referencing is as one. Oh, in fact, you see this, it added SP today. So I would have to delete SP. It was not doing it when I was testing it. Okay, let's say it this way. You want to make sure that this here name the same way as it is named farther down in the code, okay? Because if you go farther down in the code, it is being used, right? So, oh, see this? It's named the F data one. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that this name here matches the name in here. See, this is DF data one. You want to make sure that the data frame name in this piece of code matches the data frame name in the rest of the code. See, when I tested it, it did not say SF. See, they keep on changing things. So, keep it in mind, this is subject to change. But what I'm saying here is that you're reading data into this, right? You want to make sure that the name here is df underscore data underscore one, because it's easier to change it in two places than to change it everywhere else in your code, right? So that's one piece. Another piece is this. You want to make sure that your data types are read correctly, because there is a numeric column called age. When you run analysis on age, we want to analyze something like an average age. We don't want to analyze the average ASCII value of age. So let's see here. I always copy and paste that line. This is enforce schema property. So what you need to do is this. See this? You copy this here, Control C, Control V, right? You copy this, and then instead of header, you're gonna put this enforce schema. See, there is more than one way to do it, but I like this way. Okay. Well, here. See, this is an option. Why do you need that option? Because you want to make sure that the data types are read correctly. If you don't do this, it's going to read the numeric column age as a character. Then when you try to do the age, etc., what it will do is it's going to calculate these ASCII values instead of the actual age, right? So, well, a few things. This one, that, right? You want to make sure that's a name, df underscore data underscore one. You want to do enforce schema. Then here, what is this? This is the bucket name, remember? So what you have to do is this. You have to scroll down to this piece of code, replace the word bucket with a bucket. This is bucket name, okay? Do not put my bucket name from this demo. Do not put my bucket name from instruction. This is your bucket name. Where did you get it? Remember the earlier project page I showed you? That's one way. Or another way, it's right here for you, okay? So now we've got that. What you're gonna do is, you can see here, there are some examples. And set of examples followed by exercise. You must study examples before you work on exercise. So what you'll do is you're going to run the whole notebook, everything, just run it, right? Without exercises first. So I made enough changes. I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm just gonna run it. Well, there is an option. You can run the whole notebook, right? Here, restart and run all, right? But when you rerun it, when you run it the second time, you need to restart and clear out. But at the moment, I can just go in. I'm just gonna run all, right? I'm gonna run everything, restart and run. See? Well, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna run everything, right? Because you need to be able to look at the examples that I gave you, right? Well, I don't want to actually run for you. I don't want to do your homework, but I'm just going to show you in the first few cells that it runs, okay? Because this is your homework assignment. I cannot, if I do it for you, then I'll need to be added to your gradebook and graded, right? Okay, so that's the thing. You're going to run this. And once it's done, what you will do is you're gonna stop the environment. Then you're gonna open the notebook in edit mode. That way you can look at it without consuming the hours, right? Well, this is okay. It's almost done. Well, nope, it's gonna take a while. So let me go ahead and stop this. Okay, I'm just gonna go stop kernel. Okay, I'm just gonna stop. I'm done. Let's suppose it's done. I shut down the notebook. I'm done, right? Let's assume I'm done. What I can do is, I shut down the kernel, right? I'll go back to my project. But wait a minute. Did I stop the environment? Oh, well, to make sure that I stop the environment, what you can do, you're gonna go to manage, right? In here, this is in the project itself. Nothing running, right? No active runtime in the project, right? Then, just to be sure, I'm not paranoid, but to be sure, I'm gonna go in here, and now I want to check under administration. I want to check the environmental runtime to make sure nothing is running, nothing, okay? Now what I can do, I can go back to my project, and I click on view all projects, and it's gonna show at the top. Right, that's a project I just drew from. I'm open this. Okay, now, well, let's see assets, right? Assets. I have this notebook in here, and I want to just view it. How do I do it? I just click on view. Well, doing that, it's gonna let me study the notebook without consuming hours. I did not run the whole thing. I stopped it. But, well, you see that it runs, right? You just see the beginning, it runs. What you would need to do is you study those examples. Then you're going to scroll down to where it says exercise, and you're going to work on it. But what I recommend you do is you take this notepad, and you put something like this, exercise 1, right? And put your code here. Put your code in here, okay? Well, then like exercise 2 and put the code here. You prepare the code ahead of time, all right? Well, because as soon as you enter the notebook in the edit mode, it's going to start consuming capacity hours, okay? Just remember that. And as soon as you enter the edit mode, it will start consuming the capacity hours. So well, the option is to prepare the code ahead of time. And if your code generates an error, you want to stop it, immediately stop everything and look back at the code. But you want to make sure that there is no need to sit and stare at this while running the environment. Prepare the code. Then when you're ready, only when you're ready, click on this pencil button, right? Well, that will open the notebook in the edit mode and it will start what? What am I starting right now? The environment, right? Okay. Now, it will start, we're starting the environment. And well, what you're gonna do is this. You're gonna do kernel. You're gonna do restart and clear all output. You're gonna go to your notepad where you prepared the code, right? And you're gonna scroll down. Well, now I'm waiting for it to clear. It should clear all this output here. It takes a little bit of time, but I say to clear all output. It will. But once it's done, right? What you'll do, you'll need to go down to where it says exercise, and you need to paste your code, right? Note that you don't need to set up the bucket anymore. It's done once. You already did it. What you have to do is you just have to set up the clear. Okay, let's see. Well, I just did the clear. Oh, I say to restart. That's what it's doing. Okay, well, now, you have to restart it, and you have to clear all output. See, now it's done. It's taking a little bit of time, but it's done. I cleared all output. That's what you're gonna do it. To run it for the second time, you're gonna clear all output. Then you're gonna go to the cells where it says exercise, right? Well, see, this is graded exercise 1. You have to paste your code in here, see? Write the code to show the summary statistic for average monthly hours. Well, but you have examples where it shows the statistics for a different column, right? So that's a satisfaction level. See the summary statistics for satisfaction. So that's why you need to study examples first. You're given example for the satisfaction level. Your task is to do the same thing, but for a different column for average monthly hours. Well, same thing here. See this? You have this example here, right? And you have the same exercise for you have an exercise. See the show just different column names and the first 5 rows. Something different, just different columns and different number of rows, and etc. See, you have an example to show the distinct department values. Your task is to show distinct salary values, right? Low, medium, high. Something like that, right? So that should not be too complicated, right? Well, but for ungraded exercises, it's going to be a little bit tricky because you need to remember how to do the query with 2 grouping columns. So what you're going to do, you take your code for graded exercises 6, exercise 6, right? And you're going to add another column. So see this for exercise 6, it shows you have to show the salary level and number of employees at the salary level. So what does it do? It calls for grouping. You have an example here that shows the different grouping, right? But different columns. See here, it shows you the department. Well, in this case, it just shows you for each department how many people stayed, how many people left, right? But here, well, this is different. You're just asking you to show the number of salary levels per department, right? The number of people, basically, you listing the salary level and how many employer level, how many employees had the salary level. So how many employees had high salary, how many have medium, how many had low, right? Here, well, just adding one level here. I want to see the department name. I want to see the salary level and number of employees. Well, like for example, let's say department human resources, salary level low, 5 employees, something like that. Okay, so that's what it means in here. So if department in column 1 is source human resources, salary level in column 2 is high, I want to know how many people uh, in department of human resources had a high salary, right? So that basically adds another grouping column to your SQL statement. Well, in here, it adds another difficulty level, right? So I want to know this. If for given, I know the department, I know salary level, I know whether employee left or stayed, how many. So see, this adds a little bit of more grouping. 3 is a little bit tricky. Well, because see here, number of retained employees. Well, I can give you a little hint because if you look at the data description here, this column value is 1. If employee left the workspace, the value is 1. If an employee stayed, the value is 0. When we take the sum of this column, taking the sum of this column gives us what? How many people left, isn't it? Because in every row, the value is 1 if the person left. Taking the sum of that column tells us how many people left, right? How do I know how many people stayed? Is the total number of people, right? Minus number of people left. So just keep that in mind. So you're going to need to use the sum function, and that query does not call for subqueries. You can do it all in one query. You can have more than one grouping in a select statement. I'm not sure how familiar you are. I believe you did some SQL in earlier courses, right? Say yes. Okay. So basically, here it's using the Spark SQL, and you might see some warnings, right? It's a warning. You may see some warnings. It's a warning. It's not an error, so that's fine. Okay. So you have to do all of this. Oh, but right now, while I'm blah 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 blah, what's happening right now while I'm doing blah 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 with you? My hours are going up. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stop kernel, right? And I'm gonna do shutdown. I stop the kernel. Every time when you're not doing the work, you have to stop the kernel, right? Oh, I forgot to say something very important. When you rerun the notebook, you have to run it from the top, and you need to run everything. When you submit the work, the submission must include all output. The output must be correct to get the full credit for this part. And here you have several options here. You can download this. Well, see this here. You can download it as HTML, right? You download it as HTML. It's gonna save that HTML file somewhere where it's saving files by default on your PC. I can open it, but what I could also do is I can print it to the PDF, right? If I do this, if I go print, there should be an option to print to Microsoft PDF. This is how I can save my output as PDF and submit. So there is no explicit option to save as PDF, but you can save it as a notebook and then print it as PDF if you want to submit a PDF. Okay? Does it make sense? You need to submit the output. If you don't submit the output, This part of your assignment, unfortunately, cannot be scored, right? You must submit the notebook. It's very important, compulsory, Okay. Well, another thing that I would say is that when you do the quiz, you may want to have the notebook in a view mode open. So you're gonna have the notebook with the output. When you're working on a quiz, have the notebook with the output open in the view mode. Okay? Because you need to see the output from the notebook to answer some of the questions in a quiz. Okay? Another thing is that make sure that you check, because if the question has multiple answers, it's gonna say, like, for example, if the question requires selecting two answers, it's gonna explicitly say, please select two answers. If you select only one, your answer is incorrect. Okay, no credit, incorrect. Because we need to know how to follow instructions and we need to know how to count until two. Okay, if it says to select three answers, you select three. Don't select just two. You need to select all three, and they must be correct. But if it says to select the best answer, right? It does not say how many, then it's a one, right? But if it select choose the best answer, it calls for one answer, and if you select two answers, you get no credit. Okay, so pay attention to instructions. Well, I stop the kernel, right? When I leave it, I'm gonna check the two places because, just to make sure nothing running here, and I'm gonna go back to assets and I'm gonna check. See, well, people may think I'm crazy, but I know what I'm talking about. We had students who did not follow instructions. We had students who did not follow instructions. And because of that, they had problems later in the course, okay? So see this? What happened? I was at 0.2, right now I'm at 0.5. Okay, but well, that also shows you that you have enough hours for the assignment. See, I only consume 0.3, but mostly I was talking, right? What you will be doing, you will be just looking at the output from the examples, right? You study the output from examples, prepare your code, paste your code, and run it. Do not worry if ungraded exercises do not work, but the intent is for you to give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Not trying it is not gonna. Well, initially, the attempt was to make that as graded exercise where you're asked to have a query with two grouping columns just to identify the A students, just to have something a little bit extra, little trick. But then the hours thing. So I didn't want people to spend a lot of capacity hours. So ungraded exercises, you must attempt them because trust me, it will come up later. Right? Basically, what it's asking you to do in the last exercise is you need to produce one row per department name, how many people left, how many people stayed, and the total, right? And I gave you some hints for that. So see, there's nothing is running right now. But if something was running, I would have had an option to stop, right? I would have an option to stop, and you stop it. What happens if you forget and you click on the browser X button? You close it up and you forgot. Well, what you need to do, well, immediately get up, go to your PC, log into your account. Immediately, as soon as you remember, go to your account and go to the administration environmental runtime. As soon as you remember, see if you have something running and stop. Oh boy, what's happening? Now it's 0.4. No. It's not gonna go down. It's gonna go up. Sometimes it's not refreshing well. See, this number will not go down. It will go up, up. So remember that the capacity hours, consumed hours are going up. Oh, that's the thing. Another thing what's going to happen is the student who forgot to stop the environment, over here in this column, it shows that they had 100. My question was, how can you have 100 if you only have 10? Okay, the environment keeps on running and consuming hours. It does not know that you ran out. You cannot start the new one. You cannot do anything. Okay? It keeps on consuming until whatever it times out. So that's why it's going to show sometimes when the student forgot to stop, it can show 100, it can show whatever. 50, it can show 150, whatever the timeout is. Well, it's going to run, it's going to consume it. But you're not going to be able to do anything else until next calendar month. Well, so suppose that today is February 5th, and I forgot to stop the runtime environment. I just remembered what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my PC. As soon as I remember, I'm going to go log into my account. I'm going to go to that page and see if there is something I can do. Most of the time, not, because, well, I did the math for you here. In the slides, I did the math where I converted what actually is, you divide 10 by 1.5. Well, this is like, well, 6 hours, right? Well, but look at it this way. Are you going to be writing the code for the whole, are you going to be running the code for the whole day? Of course not, right? You prepare the code first, and once your code is ready, you're gonna run it, right? Do not do anything until it's ready, right? So here, I just put what you need to do. This is a data frame name. It says it should be df data_1. So you want to make sure this is the correct name. You want to make sure, again, I'm saying it again, enforce schema true, because you have the code where it's looking at the age statistics. And if your average age is higher than the maximum age, something might be wrong. It's analyzing the ASCII value, then it means you missed the instruction here, okay? And this will also apply to assignment 2. You have to do the same enforce schema thing, okay? Well, this shows you how to restart the kernel, right? I just put it for you. This is where to check what is running. I took this picture in the beginning of the month, maybe at some point. Okay. Well, this is just shows you how to check what your environment is. Sometimes, if you chose the wrong environment, what you have to do is, well, you can delete the notebook and start from scratch, but keep in mind, deleting the notebook does not stop the running environment. It still keeps on running. You need to stop the environment, okay? Just make sure you stop. And this is just some examples of the samples, if they're still there. I think they are. Well, remember this. Please remember to stop the environment. I don't know how to emphasize it, because IBM gives only one account per student, right? One code per student per year. That's it. If you run out of those hours, I cannot increase them. IBM cannot increase them. Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do until next calendar month. It is what it is, okay? Right. Well, another thing, I mentioned that parts of the notebook. Well, did you notice that the notebooks have several cells? The cell that you run a code and the cell where it's marked down code, right? We're going to talk about it more next time, about different cell types. But for this assignment, remember, well, you're going to do the first run, right? First run. Then open in the view mode, study. Make sure you thoroughly understand what the code given to you does. Prepare the code in advance. Go to edit mode, enter your code, right? Run the whole thing from the top down. Go back to the edit mode to answer a quiz. The quiz is, some of it are from readings, and some questions are you have to have the output in front of you. It's intentionally made that you have to run the notebook to answer the questions. You cannot answer. Then there are also some follow-up questions which I may have answered some of them for you, right? You need to know the hours before and after you done, right? You need to explain why what the numbers are and why they're changing. And why do we need to pay attention to it? It's very important, okay? To make sure that you're prepared for assignment 2, which will become available once you submit this. So how do you get more time on assignment 2? get this assignment done as soon as you can, okay? So all notebooks for assignment 2, and this notebook should work in both Spark versions. But I want you to be aware of this. Regarding the incomplete, etc., if you need an incomplete, if you work in this assignment super late, there is a high possibility of environment that is latest today to be deprecated. See what I'm saying? If something happens, right, and you miss this assignment, and at the end of the semester you get an incomplete to finish this assignment. Well, I know I might sound crazy, but it did happen. So you end up working on this assignment a month later. There is a high possibility that you're not gonna have this Spark version. There might be next version, right? That keeps on changing. A month ago, this new version 3.4 was not there, but you never know. Tomorrow, 3.3 may go. After then, maybe in a week they're gonna add a new Python version, right? Why is 3.10 if 3.11 is there already, right? So they could change. They keep on updating it. But when there's an update, is it going the code still gonna work? I cannot guarantee. I checked, I validated the current version that we have now. The code works in both, no issues, right? I validated. Well, the only little thing today was a name, but don't the instructions say that you need to make sure that your data frame is named df underscore data underscore one? Well, they do, right? So yeah. So now it's gonna be your turn. Do you have questions? I already answered one question when we started. Do not install anything. Please, please, please. Do not install anything. No Spark installation, no Hadoop installations. Okay? We do IBM Cloud for this course. Okay? Questions, please. I love questions. Love students who ask questions. Come on, we've met before. How many of you have started? Well, I recommend to start today because today is still January. You still have another day in January. Tomorrow night, the hours are going to be reset because it goes by a different time zone, few hours ahead. Okay, so by now, tomorrow, you're going to see the hours back up to 10. You get 10 per month. So this 10 that you're going to get should be good for this assignment and assignment 2 if you're doing it right. Then next month, you're going to get 10 more for sentiment analysis tutorial and assignment 3. This is enough. Well, the problem is the reason they put this because people they did not stop the environment. They kept on running things would run and consume resources, It's like in the winter time, like you have the heat on, not new, right? When you put the new, you need to air out the smell, but not new. You run in your heat and you have all your windows open. It's the same thing here. People did not use the environment and they just kept on running. It was consuming a bunch of resources, and people who had to do the work, they could not because a lot of runtimes were running. People forgot to stop things, and that's the reason why they had to cap it at 10 to make sure that people are not uh, having all windows open with the heat on or with the air on. You know what I'm saying, right? People were wasting resources. Like, okay, you get a free electric bill, right? You just use whatever you use, fixed cost. Then what's gonna happen? You know how people are gonna abuse it, right? So that's the reason why they have to cap it off at 10. You know what I'm saying? So I know that some people call it limitation. I call it privilege. You got your 10 hours. Okay? Used to be 50 at some point. Now it's 10. Right? Any questions for me? Professor Azan, anything you want to add? If you're still here.
All good, Yelena. Thanks for the session.
So I guess with no questions, I'm gonna stop the recording, save it, and we're gonna have another session in a couple weeks. So be ready
Elena,
for
did we
it. Huh?
Elena, did we make enough recommendation for the number of hours?
For this one, it should not take more than 1 hour for this
Right.
assignment. Maybe 1 hour or maybe no more than two for sure for this one. Well, then assignment two is different because it has three parts. Part three does not require hours. Part one, you're given the code. All you have to do is just the credential thing. Should not take more than half an hour if you do it right. Most of the work will be done on part two of the assignment two. Right. So 10 hours is a privilege. It's not a limitation. Like I say, if you make it unlimited, people are going to be abusing. They're going to stop to shut down the faucet and will leave the house, things like that. People don't think about it. They don't, well, the idea is you use as much as you need. You don't use things when you don't need. You see what I'm saying? You don't abuse it.
Actually, I guess they need to learn how to turn off when they are not using it. They
Yes,
consume the most when they don't know how to turn it off.
yes,
So we will be at the beginning of the month, like as at the beginning of the February.
yeah.
So
Okay.
the renewal of the hours will be like end of the February. So they need to wait for a month to get extra hours. So everybody needs to be very careful while using their number of hours. Basically, like I learned how to turn off when you're not using, because if you use your time wisely, both of the homeworks like a time is will be enough.
And in fact, I had a student who, with 10 hours, he could do almost all. He could do this assignment, assignment two, and the sentiment analysis tutorial. For that one, R consumes one hour per, yeah, so they could do several, no problem. Because when you're not using, like right now, I'm just talking, right? I'm not running anything. Why run this environment? Right. So, but every semester, somebody has to not follow the instructions. Don't be used at somebody. Okay? We don't want it to be you. All right? Anything else? Going once, going twice? No? All right. And you're gonna get the recording. Okay? I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you all for attending today's session.